This is Planes in Marvel, where superheroes save the world and I pause every frame to judge their aviation choices. Today, we're diving into Captain Marvel and asking questions so controversial it could split friendships. Is it a plane or a spaceship? Fasten your seatbelts. The aerodynamics police are on alert. From the beginning of time, nerds, armed with physics textbooks and too much free time, have sat in theaters staring at the screen, asking, does this design even make sense? Is it just a spaceship pretending to follow aerodynamics? Meanwhile, the movie director? Too busy having a social life to care about lift, drag, or the laws of physics. I thought this would be simple. Here, make a video about planes in Marvel, I said. How hard could it be? There are two main schools of thought on this debate. First, the Internet Movie Plane Database, or as I call them, the High Council. They're a lifesaver for this series because they catalog every aircraft ever to appear in a movie. But here's the twist. They didn't list the craft you're looking at right now, not even a footnote. The second school of thought says, if it looks like a plane and acts like a plane, it's a plane. Personally, I think it's much more complicated than that. I even asked friends, family, and experts for their input. Here's what I got. A spacecraft. I've blocked you twice, stop making new accounts, seek help. And, lastly, a plane. And honestly, they might be right. It flies so much like a plane that part of me says, yeah, okay, maybe. But another part of me whispers, go on, you're losing their attention. For now, let's move on before the High Council hears about my impure thoughts. Before we get to the star aircraft, let's talk and appreciate some real planes with a few fun facts. First up, the B-1B Lancer, a supersonic bomber with a flair for the dramatic. It has a ground-following radar system that lets it skim the Earth at insanely low altitudes. Safely, or at least as safely as flying a bomber at treetop height can be. Next, we meet the dynamic duo, the F-15 and F-16. The F-16 also has a close relative, the Japanese Mitsubishi F2. Yes, that Mitsubishi. It's basically an F-16 with upgrades, a little larger, more advanced avionics, and built for Japan's specific needs. The F-15, on the other hand, uses moving air intakes to manage airflow at different speeds and angles, which helps it provide the right airflows to the engines. Simple, clever engineering that's been reliable for decades. The next dilemma is a simpler one. Do pictures on wall or images on background computer screen count as planes in the movie? The database says yes. I'm saying no. I only count it if the movie lingers on it long enough to make it feel intentional. If it's just a wallpaper in the background, I'm not calling it a cameo. But for attentive viewers, I would include them as little pictures in the background of this video. The High Council has, of course, been notified of my transgression. The KC-135 Stratotanker is easy to spot among US Air Force tankers. The only one that looks similar is the newer KC-46 Pegasus. Quick guide for identification. If it looks like an airliner, but has a stick sticking out of its butt, that's a tanker. 4 engines, KC-135. 2 engines, KC-46 Pegasus. An older photo with a tail-mounted engine, that's the KC-10. The movie now lingers on the F-15, which we've already covered, but underneath it is one of the coolest things to ever fly, the XB-70 Valkyrie. It looks like something out of science fiction, but it was very real, just never went into production. Only a few prototypes were built for testing. The Valkyrie had 6 engines that could push it to incredible performance. 70,000 feet and speeds over Mach 3. That's nearly twice as high as commercial airliner and a ground speed of more than 3,000 kilometers per hour. The characters enter a secret Air Force base filled with an assortment of planes. The stealth B-2 Spirit makes a first appearance in the MCU, but its second time in my videos. Fun fact, the USAF bomber lineup is the B-1, B-2, and you'd think B-3, right? Nope, it's the B-52. They skipped B-3 like it was Windows 9. There's also the F-22 Raptor, which will get more attention in my next video about Iron Man 2. For now, here's one cool feature. It can move its engine nozzles along with other control surfaces, a trick called thrust vectoring. Another aircraft you can spot here is the RQ-4 Global Hawk, a giant unmanned aerial vehicle. Fun fact, one was shot down over Iran in 2019. And the last plane in that hangar is the star aircraft of this movie, the quad jet. Its design is weird but oddly familiar for me. It looks more like a toy than a real aircraft. The engines are massive for the size of the craft, while the propellers in the wing seem way too small to generate the lift needed. Here's why. Real rotorcraft avoid letting the blade tips get anywhere near the speed of sound, so there's a limit to how fast you can spin them. Even at maximum safe speed, they wouldn't generate enough lift with blades this small. Unless the aircraft is made of paper. Never mind. The other weird thing, it's takeoff. It's this strange hybrid of rotorcraft and airplane. Pretty dumb, but also pretty cool. And if that wasn't enough, it can also switch to booster mode and take itself to space. I will give them credit for one detail though. They actually animated the flaps moving before takeoff, and there's even a gravity button in the cockpit. Now for something smaller, the cute Cessna 152, the bread and butter of countless student pilots. Fun fact, Cessna built a special aerobatic version called the A152 Aerobat, reinforced for loops, barrel rolls and spins, complete with a quick release doors. Why? Because this one is tricky, it blurs the line, but it looks so much like the experimental plane in the new Top Gun that I had to include it. And then there's the last one, a bubble-shaped spaceplane that joins the chase. I don't have much to add about these ships, but from what you're saying it's obvious. Even though they're supposed to be spacecraft, they fly and maneuver exactly like planes. Which brings us full circle, back to the big question from the beginning. Is it a plane or a spaceship? This gets into something bigger than planes, how movies use familiarity to tell a story. George Lucas knew this well. In Star Wars, space battles look like World War II dogfights, not because he forgot about physics, but because he wanted audiences to instantly understand the stakes and excitement. He owned that choice. In my world, there's air in outer space, he said. It wasn't about realism, it was about making the story feel big and exciting, even if that meant bending the rules of physics. Now, in Captain Marvel, I'm not sure the same level of thought went into the quad jet. It feels more like the rule of cool, a great design that looks awesome on screen. And there's nothing wrong with it, but here's why it matters. When the tech in your world is almost as super as your superheroes, their powers feel less, well, super. A little grounding makes the contrast sharper. The ordinary stays ordinary, so the extraordinary really pops. Right now, the quadjet isn't just advanced, it's a leap so big it would change the world. If this exists, why are F-15s still parked next to it? That's why I wonder, was this deliberate, like Lucas, or just a case of, it looks cool, ship it? And now, Wife's Corner. This is the part where my wife picks her favorite plane for the movie, because she sat through all this aviation air talk and deserves the last word. Her choice, the F-15. Why? Because Carol Danvers just looks awesome in it. That's it. While I'm here doing mental gymnastics over blade tip speeds, she just points and said, ooh.
Cool. Cool.
So before I wrap up, I asked her the question we started with. Is this one a plane or a spaceship?
Impure thoughts detected. Broadcast has been terminated. The High Council protects.